Donald Trump's popularity is low and getting lower, despite Trump telling everyone, you love me so much. It's not working. And more people are doing whatever the opposite of loving Trump is. And I want to check in on those numbers, check in on the response to Trump's speech, and check in on so many different things. But first, one moment that I did appreciate from the reaction to Trump's speech during the speech from Democrats. I think they messed up on some things, but this I liked. They seemed prepared to laugh out loud, or LOL, as the kids say, whenever Trump said the era of unelected bureaucrats running things is over, when of course his little romantic partner, unelected billionaire bureaucrat Elon Musk, is running everything now. And just this response, I think, nicely emphasized the ridiculousness of what he was saying. So let's check in on that, and then we'll go forward.
It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Yeah, so you could hear audible laughter there before the Republicans started cheering. But interestingly, this comes within the context of already when you compare this time in a presidency to other presidencies at this time, because it's important. How long have they been in office? Usually you have a chance of lowering your numbers a lot as you go through your term and you do more things. And so people have more things to take issue with. You're no longer on the victory high, but even on what should be the honeymoon period of Trump's presidency, he's already rather unpopular.
How are Americans feeling about President Trump as he heads to the Capitol? Harry Anton is here to help us set the scene. So set the scene, first of all, overall approval, and how that helps us always have a good sense of how Americans are feeling.
Right. We'll set the baseline here. We'll look at overall approval rating, and we're going to look at it presidents at this point in their presidency, right? And the word here that I would use to describe Trump is awful. In fact, the only person who...
Same, Harry. Well, you gotta love Harry Anton.
Who does worse than Trump does right now with a +1 net approval rating is himself back in 2017 when he was at -8. So he's doing better than he was.
I was going to say, you could spin it another way. He's making gains.
He's making gains, but he's doing worse than everybody else. The average president at this point, get this, plus 27 points on their net approval rating. Donald Trump is doing historically awful. The only person he beats is, again, himself from term.
Yes. So you're going to hear from the MAGAs that Trump is so popular and everyone loves what he's doing. But even with the popular vote, he eked out a popular vote victory. He didn't even get a majority. He got a plurality. And yes, he sweeped the swing states. But again, that doesn't even mean that there's this overwhelming support for him like they say. Why is that important? Because we have to understand where the country's at to know where it's realistic that we can bring the country, where we want the country to ultimately be. And it should be hopeful to us that there's actually a large portion of the country that can be reached. A lot of those people chose not to turn out. That's a big reason that Kamala Harris lost, was not necessarily because of all these people swinging to Trump, but instead a lot of people who previously voted for Biden staying home, and then some ending up voting for Trump. And so to motivate people, there's going to be a lot of reason to be motivated with Trump's crazy actions. We just have to find the people, motivate them, and make sure in future elections, when again, unfortunately, the way a lot of voters react, it's often oppositional. So now that the opposing, what you would be opposing in terms of the party in power is going to be Trump, there's a real opportunity. Unfortunately, we're here, but we need to make sure we seize on it to win in future elections and send a message that this sort of crazy governance is not what we want. And even this first address to Congress, normally a president's first address to Congress is seen very positively by the viewers, but a snap poll from CNN says something very different.
And what we know is that people who tend to be fans or partisans with the president, no matter which party the president is in, tend to tune in more on speeches like this. And that's the case in tonight's survey as well, because we're 21% Democrat, 44% Republican in this sample, 35% independent. That's about 14 points more Republican than the overall general population. So keep that in mind when you see these results of speech watch.
So this is more Republicans than is aligning with the country's breakdown. And look at the sentiment.
To the results. What was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative. How does that stack up against Donald Trump's previous addresses to joint sessions of Congress or State of the Union addresses. Look here for all the years we have data for. 44% very positive reaction is actually his low water mark in all our instant polls after his previous addresses. You see in 2019, 18, and 17, he was higher in terms of very positive speech reaction. And what about to his modern day predecessors? How does this 44% very positive stack up? Again, it's the bottom of the barrel here, 51%.
Bottom of the barrel. You can see there the numbers on screen, the least popular in the first speech to Congress, even though this is disproportionately, in all the president's case, disproportionately their own supporters. So you'd think you could have a really high number there. But that didn't even work out for Donald Trump. We won't do a full review because I know many of you watched it or have already seen breakdowns, but a couple notable moments. One, I'm really confused because everyone says this is funny, Lauren Boebert pumping her fists, and I don't know what would be funny about it.
American dream. Every single day we will stand up and we will fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve.
So pumping, and people were saying this is not the first time she's done that in a crowded theater, saying this is something she's used to doing. I don't really know what those phrases mean. I just see someone proudly pumping as our backdrop is having tech problems. But maybe you can explain to me in the comments why that's funny. Trump also admitted there's going to be a little bit of a disturbance from his tariff policy.
They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh.
And while that clip was playing, Jaden scurried as fast as he could and fixed the backdrop for us. We thank Jaden. We honor Jaden. We salute and we jerk. We pump. For Jaden. We Trump fist. That just all sounds wrong. But pick the term that you want there. So in the campaign, he said something very different, right? And yeah, I accidentally used the word jerk. Am I still thinking about that? Yeah, I am. All right, that was weird. People called the Trump jerk, and it popped out. It just, goodness. But he in the campaign said something very different. You can see the color of my skin, indicative of how I feel right now. And now he's admitting that indeed there's going to be disturbance. Indeed, we're going to be hurt by this, but it's okay. You can take it. Then more.
And it hurt our farmers, but our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too.
Well, no one said I love you, so why'd you say I love you too? Oh gosh. It's, I used to, growing up, I don't even want to say that. Some kids growing up have told me that their parents sometimes would go, I really appreciate that you cleaned your room. Or I really love that you're doing this without an attitude. And it was weird because apparently that kid at that time named Luke was giving an attitude and hadn't cleaned their room. And so it was this sort of reverse psychology of, I'm going to thank you for something you haven't done to make you feel like you need to do it, right? Great parenting style. It's like that. He's trying to reverse psychology the farmers into loving him by saying, I love you too. Wait, so I must love him then. And saying have fun, which is wildly confusing when he just admitted it's not going to be fun. It's going to be painful. Even if he says that's going to be short term and then we're going to have great prosperity. Weird, because you didn't say that during your campaign. Then he says that I guess he's been the victim of revenge porn.
Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job. To criminalize the publication of such images online is terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into
just utter stress in the face of John Thune. What is going on, John?
To law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody.
All right. And now,
That's great.
this is a debacle, huh? Now our computer's having tech problems. But he says he's going to use the bill for himself, referring to a bill that seeks to oppose deep fake pornography and revenge porn. A bill I actually do support because we should be more aggressively opposing and preventing the non-consensual usage of deep fake porn of people. And a guest in the audience had been a victim of that. And so you should go after that. But why Trump's saying he's going to use it for himself, I don't know. Is it a big industry that Trump's in deep fake porn without consent? Then he threatened Marco Rubio.
And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job.
So if something goes wrong with the foreign policy of the Trump administration, we'll just blame it on Marco. Trump has these little slips, and he thinks he's making a joke, but really he's just being honest for a moment. For a rare moment, he's being honest. No, if something goes wrong with the State Department's policy, it's under you, and we're going to blame you. The buck stops with you. But if economically things go awry, he's going to find a way to blame it on Biden or Kamala. If foreign policy things go wrong, he's going to blame it on Marco Rubio. And if something, goes wrong with really anything, he'll find someone to blame it on other than himself. He also is not happy with the fact that Democrats weren't clapping for him.
This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for the...
Hey, how about this? Let's make it a deal. How about you try doing some of those things or try doing a good thing, and then we'll see if they clap or not. And if they don't, then we'll be upset with them. Now, speaking of Democrats, Representative Al Green, I'll just sort of skip through this video and show you. He was standing up, and it led to him getting forcibly removed from the chamber. I don't really know how much this does. I don't know about that. It's just sort of, I don't know. I don't know if standing up until you get removed, because that's what's going to happen. I know that if they did it during a Biden speech, it would be really infuriating because you can oppose every single thing that is being said by Trump without causing that sort of spectacle. But maybe that's just me. Also, we've been begging in a moment where there's so much to oppose Democrats to be a strong opposition party. And I get they don't have the House or Senate or the White House, so there's not as much power there as we'd hope for the time being. But maybe in PR, they could oppose a little bit more aggressively. So we've been saying, get online, be on social media. And they took the advice, but I think I should have been more clear in giving the advice.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's president.
All right. And it turns out that dozens of senators did the same video. Oh gosh, it's almost kind of cute because you have all these people mostly who aren't that in tune with social media, and it's like, hey, do social media stuff. So they script out one video and they all do the same video. No, we didn't mean that, okay? But I'm glad that you're getting on social media. I like the shit that ain't true, kind of edgy, using the body word, but maybe we come up with a unique one so that the right wing doesn't mock the fact that it looks like you're all reading because you are from the same script. Now, it's a good message. They go through and talk about how it's ridiculous that Trump's acting like he's going to make things more affordable when he's actively making things less affordable with his entire economic approach. But They can explain that in different ways. There's lots of ways to express that. You don't have to make the same video. It looks so silly, but they all just did the same video. Oh, they're trying. But we need better. We need more in a time of unprecedented threats to our republic. Share your thoughts in the comments.